Hello and welcome to the Outstanding Shift podcast with your host, Andrew Evans from Rossby Financial. I'm producer RJ Malik, and now here is your host, Andrew Evans. Andrew, why don't you introduce today's topic and welcome your guest?
Absolutely. Thank you, RJ. Always great to see you. This podcast, very happy to have on Fran Toler of Toler Financial. I've had the pleasure of working directly with Fran now for just about a year, depending on when this one airs. But it'll probably be over a year by the time this one airs. But how fun. It's been great. Just your overall honesty. I think you're the most honest advisor that I have worked with in terms of how you approach the business, how you bring your own personality into what you do. And what can I say? All that's just been great. Fran, it's been great, and I love working with you.
Thanks, Andrew. It's been really fun for me. Now, we'll have been with Rossby a year since the middle of August of 2024, and we've had a great year. So I'm excited to sit down and talk about my business and the industry and whatever else you want to talk about.
Okay, so here's what I want to get to. So for an overview for everybody listening, I want to talk about practice structure, and that's going to lead into something. So that's why we're talking about that. I want to talk about something that we've kind of talked about before, and I think it's generally a problem, which is, does your practice define you as a person? That's an interesting one. And then, Fran, I would love for you to take it away and talk to us about the wonderful, gentle art of birding.
Always a favorite topic.
I know. And it's going to be fun to talk about. But first, I love to ask everybody a very, very pointed question. And again, for everybody here at the Outstanding Shift, what we're trying to find nuggets of gold as that. How do we make that shift of what we're doing to become outstanding? What makes something outstanding? And I think this speaks to the industry at large. And so, Fran, maybe you've got something into this. Why are, we'll say, the more seasoned advisors, why are they so bad at retiring?
Well, it's a good question. So first, let me say, most of the seasoned advisors I know seem to be struggling with some mix of not having made a good succession plan and not wanting to let go of the relationship they've developed with their clients over decades. So the first part is because it's quite challenging to construct a firm that can continue the business without you. That's what I'm trying to do, and it's hard, and I've been doing it for a while, and I have a long way to go. So many advisors get, like myself included, get a huge amount of satisfaction from our decades-long, close, trusted relationships with our clients. My clients, a lot of them are friends, family, people that I've grown to get to be very close to. So it can be hard to let go of that, particularly for some people. If they haven't built a firm behind them, then their only choice is selling to an outside party, or hoping to find that magical advisor who wants to buy it, who's just like them, which is kind of impossible. Or some people just kind of let their clients drift into the wind. They begin to lose capacity or stamina or something else, and their clients just start to find other advisors. And I didn't want to do any of those. And I don't have an industry analysis of, say, advisors over 65 and why they're still working. I would bet that 70% of them would say because they love what they do. But there's a little bit more to the story than that.
I guess maybe it's the construct too, that, this idea of, and I asked it in a pointed way. It's like, why are we so bad at that? It's like, well, why is the sun bad at being the moon?
Right.
Okay. But it's more like, why? Maybe it's better if our industry was structured more like law firms, where, does an attorney really retire? Well,
That's
not
right.
really. They just, they just don't renew their license, but they can still be emeritus status.
But they still take their core clients out to lunch and enjoy the contact. And I think for me, my vision of the perfect retirement process would be somewhat gradual. My personal sort of benchmark is that after 70, I want it to be completely optional how much work I keep doing. I'm 62 now. So I'm hoping that by 70, if I want to fully retire, then that'll be fine. If I want to keep 30 or 40 clients and still have, my close friends that I talk to about their money, but I know that other people are handling the administrative and executive and investment parts of the business, I want to have that option.
Yeah.
And I think that what I'm trying to build in that regard, that part of it is something that most advisors would like, but you really have to plan ahead 15 or maybe 20 years. So if you start thinking of it when you're 62, you're not going to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then it's just kind of a Hail Mary. Like, does an advisor walk into your life with the characteristics that make you comfortable turning your business over to them? And are they able to pay you for it? And the answer to those is hardly ever are both questions answered yes.
Yep. I don't know how this is going to, this is fairly fourth dimensional. So I'll probably have some sort of an article come out maybe before this podcast, maybe it's after, doesn't matter. But I'm actually writing to the contrary of getting advisors to retire. So, because like right now, how much do we see about people really for you've got to call it quits. You've got to get out. You've got to do it. And the way that it's coming across, I actually find to be overly aggressive. Like it's like you're trying to force your mother into a retirement home. Like that's what it feels like,
when that might be the tone of some of what's out there. I'd say for me, Andrew, there's a personal family history component. My dad was a very successful businessman, and he sold several iterations of his flight simulation business. He was a pioneer in flight simulation.
Oh, that's exceptionally interesting. Yeah.
But he got out of it early, and in hindsight, it was a good thing because he had dementia by age 67. And 67 is like nipping at my heels right now.
Sure.
And so one of the things I have seen in some doctors that I've gone to and other professionals is that some people do outstay their capacity or their stamina. And, I don't want to overstay my welcome. Like I want to create a firm that if I have good stamina and cognition and desire to continue working, I can, but I want it to be sturdy enough. I don't think I'm going to get dementia in 5 years, but I want it to be sturdy enough that if I do start to develop stamina or cognition or other issues, judgment issues, I want the firm to be able to say, you're out.
Yeah.
And I think that's responsible because when you look at people between, let's just say 60 and 90, there's a huge array of competence across that age group. And it isn't certainly the number of people with impaired competence increases with age, but my mom's 89 and she's still 100% cognitively competent and socially and mathematically and energetically competent. But that's not the most common scenario. I'm hoping I follow in my mom's direction, not my dad's. But
you got a 50-50 shot.
I don't know what I have, but I got to say, you don't get to pick your exact trajectory. So I think for those of us who built a block of clients that we love and care for and want the best for, the best outcome for our clients is to create something sturdy that goes beyond us, whether that's a merger affiliation with another firm, which could be a really strong play for certain people. But I love the idea, like if I follow my mom's track, like I'd love to have a handful of clients. I don't want the 170 households I have under my personal purview today. That's too many. But I would love to be able to have, a number of clients that I keep in touch with. It'd be great.
Okay, so then let's say let's talk about a little bit about then a practice structure. So for you don't have to go too deep. You don't have to wind back the clock, but let's just say if you were starting again, knowing what you know right now, and you have a fantastic team already. How would you arrange it knowing that, okay, I want to get to these couple that I'm going to work with while the rest of the crew takes over. I am now, I'm now the chair of the board and I'm just working with these ones. Everybody else is doing everything.
I mean, I think I would have done it about the same way. Maybe I would have made fewer mistakes if I got to rewind the clock.
Well, sure.
But,
hit the reset button. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Oops.
Yep.
But, I decided 7 or 8 years ago, after reading Philip Paloviv's book, The Ensemble Practice, to go from being a solo advisor. Like I was trying to figure out, what do I do from here? Do I get one successor? Like, how do I do this? And I was inspired to create an ensemble practice where all the clients are owned by the firm and we work collaboratively on the client base. And while we might be on, as primary advisor for certain clients, we're all pitching in with all of them and we all rise and fall together. And so I really liked that model, and that's what I built my firm on. And now there's 2 other lead advisors and several aspiring advisors, and we've got the beginnings of a investment department. We've got a service department. So we're starting to get to the size where we kind of will have departments. Like, let's be clear, that's something we're 8 people right now. We're just kind of reaching the size where we're starting to talk about departments and areas of mastery.
Do you think there's something that, who knows, but is there like a skill set that you're thinking, I'll probably need to get that because that's something that I have, but nobody else has that yet. Or we probably should use this, but that's maybe 2 years from now.
The problem with a founder-based model that's trying to convert is that you're chief cook and bottle washer for so long that it's hard to not have your hands in everything. And so getting better at delegating, giving people the power to slap my hands when I try to meddle in stuff I shouldn't is really important. I am trying to sort of nurture leads for different aspects of the business. This is something I'm working on with professional development plans with my staff. And, in my mind, it's all going to work out great. Like that all these wonderful, beautiful, talented people that work for me, this one's going to lead this department, this one's going to lead this department. But one thing I've learned quite strongly over the last few years is you can't make people fit on a spreadsheet. So no matter what you're imagining the structure might work, it's a very dynamic, fluid interface between that person's skills and interests and the needs of the firm as you develop and grow. And so, this is an active conversation, but what I envision in 5 years is a multi-owner firm. Right now, still 100% owned by me, a multi-owner firm with maybe 5 or 6 owners, each of whom are handling like a, C-suite level department, investments, marketing, planning and training, finance, executive, I don't know, something like that. And so there's like a cobble of, advisor, owner, advisor/owner/leaders that are running the firm. And interestingly, this harkens back to how my dad started his business, which I just think is kind of interesting. His first business was called Secor, Secor, and it was 5 guys. He was the Robert, There was their first names, and they ran it collectively. They made 100% of important decisions as a unified body. If they would probably sit and drink until they were all on one page, I'm not sure.
Whatever gets it done, I guess.
Whatever gets it done. But that was like, and their roles adjusted. He started as an engineer, and then everyone realized he was probably the best bullshitter among them. So he became the marketing guy. He didn't have a background in marketing. He had an engineering degree. So it was kind of like that. Like, as their firm grew to this quite large firm, they adjusted their roles accordingly. And so that,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really get to hear a whole lot about the business growing up. My sister worked for them. I didn't. But, I feel like that's a little bit of what I'm trying to build.
Yeah, it's you give. We've talked about this before. Is that we have that similar philosophy, though, is that you look for good, smart, intelligent, hungry talent. Right. You give them the opportunity to grow, succeed where they want to. Don't try to fit that square peg in a round hole.
Right.
Try to find where the opportunity is. But if then all of a sudden you're finding out that this just isn't right across the board. Well, don't try to hang on. Try to, nicely part ways, the best you can and just be done.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the harder part than anything.
It's all challenging. Like,
sure.
There's the fun challenge when things are working out well and you're just trying to get that exact right fit and kind of finesse it. And then there's the more difficult conversations when something isn't going that well.
Yeah. Well, Fran, does, I'm going to change channels just a little bit. Does your practice, this is for a lot of people out there, does your practice define you as a person?
No, but it does not define me. But I have to say, to a greater degree than I anticipated going into this field, and this is my second career, it is a manifestation of my values in the world. So it doesn't define me, but I do strive to bring my whole self to it, if that makes sense. That I want to be who I am, which is, it's a mixed bag, let's be blunt. But but I try to be authentically me and honestly me. And I come from a background of very alternative businesses, and I try to bring some of that collective spirit to it, even though I am the boss right now. I am the 100% owner, but I really value a collaborative, collective decision-making process, and it's a very open environment. I'm always happy to listen to all the points of view. And, in the perfect world, every business decision in my book would be everybody gets along, everybody's happy. I've had to accept that you can't make every business decision that way. You're going to have to make business decisions that leave people unhappy. But my first choice is there a business decision that works great for the business and somehow incorporates everybody's needs into it so that we're all humming along as a little village? We've each got our little roles. One person's the blacksmith, one person's the wheat farmer, whatever it is, we've got our little roles, but we're all working towards this common goal.
Leading by consensus or dictatorial, I find eventually dictatorial will fall apart. Consensus can, lead to, meandering
or paralysis.
Paralysis, exactly. But eventually, somebody has to decide. To what you were saying before, I mean, I knowing your background, and I find that you could bring it up too, but I just talking to so many advisors over the years, working with so many, for those that I just think that some of them, their practice defines them as a person because they've let it, and they can't let go of it in regular conversation. That's all they can talk about. All they want to talk about is the market, their clients, their AUM, their production. And it's like, hey, there's other things happening in the world.
I'm
It's like
probably the
you have
least
children.
interested in the market of any advisors I know.
Yeah, it's like it happened. Okay, but
it's a thing. It's part
yeah,
of my landscape. So is tax law, and I find tax law to be just horrifically terrible subject. Just like it's like a complete waste of trillions of my brain cells, but it's part of the job, you know.
yeah, exactly.
So to me, the market is sometimes interesting and exciting and frequently aggravating and unpredictable, but
Yeah,
it isn't where the market isn't where my deep interest lies. It's in the people, and really our business isn't about the market. Our business is about helping people make financial decisions that are to their long-term benefit instead of their long-term detriment.
right, right.
And people, people don't really do math much, so and it's very challenging to weave together all the tax law, investment stuff, projections, all this stuff. That's what we do. That's what we bring to it. But what's interesting for me is that human conversation where we can say, look, here's what's going well. Here are some things that need to change to get you where you want to go. And now we're in the interesting space of respecting like our clients' opinions and feelings and points of view, but trying to help open up their mind to ways of doing it that will be to their long-term benefit. That's
Yeah,
really, to me, the core of what we do. Is trying
absolutely.
to bring people the guidance and the knowledge and the wisdom really about how can we shift this to improve their long-term standing.
Yep,
It's a
absolutely.
shift.
It
Yeah.
is. There you go. Thank you for pulling that together. So I think now is also a perfect time, say, in terms of what our personalities are and what defines you as a person. So, Fran, tell us about birding. Bring us into your world.
All right. So my world, it goes a little beyond birding. It's really all of the naturalist stuff.
Well, also I'm
But I
saying
will
birding,
talk-
but for those out there that don't know what I'm talking about, what is the colloquial birding? What would that define?
So
What's the definition of that?
birding is typically so there's terms birding and bird watching. They're fundamentally interchangeable, but birding is probably like a little more serious in people's minds. And I'm not the most serious bird watcher in the world, but birds to me are one way of deeply experiencing the natural habitat where I am. So let's say here's an example. Let's say I have a conference in Denver, which I do in November.
So do I.
Yeah, I'm generally going to leave a day or two at the start or the end of the conference to explore the natural areas of wherever I'm traveling. So one of the things I'll do is I'll look on some citizen science websites about birding and other spots in that area, depending on the time of year. And I'll almost always go somewhere where I can experience a rich natural habitat that's distinctive for that location. And I'm keeping a bird list. I'm engaged with the birds, their song, their whatever, their movements, their behavior. But I'm also looking at the plants and the fungi and the soil and the trees and the fish if there's water. Like I'm into all of it. I'm super into the web of life. That's what I mostly read about on my own. I would say that that's 75% of my pleasure reading has to do with the
Like
web of life.
The interconnection of all things, how this affects this, the water table has done this to these things. And
like the book I'm reading right now is called The Light Eaters, and it's about plants, and it's about plant communication, sensation, and kind of plants' interaction with an experience of the world. It's a really excellent book. So I just find I don't find birds more fascinating than other wildlife particularly, but they are an abundant and mobile group that also conveniently make noise, unlike mammals. It's really hard to go to a new place and find mammals because they're just keeping their mouths shut and they're staying away from you.
Yeah.
So birds are out there, they're singing, they tolerate our activities a little better. So to me, they're a way of experiencing a habitat.
That's you said it in an interesting way, Fran. I think we all know of some bipedal mammals that should also maybe
close the trap.
You should also not. Some bipedal mammals talk too much.
Yeah, well, people are super yappy, but but most mammals, you got some shrews in a field where you're at, you're not going to hear them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Carry over from the ancient times when they didn't want to get scooped up by a dinosaur, I guess.
Exactly. Well, even now, they don't want to get scooped up by a red-tailed hawk, so they're going to keep their mouths shut.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what have been some of the most interesting places that you've traveled to, and what have you seen, and where would you say to somebody, hey, I do want to travel. I am interested in, I do want to experience, more nature. I do want to take a hike, things like that. Where would you say, other than the standard, like, I just want to go to Hawaii and go on a beach?
That's pretty cool.
No, I got no problem with that.
But I would say, starting in your area. So for people who are, you can just pull out a Google map and look for green areas on the map. Like, it's kind of that simple. I use a website called eBird, which is a citizen science project funded by Cornell University. And it's a way to list all the birds you've seen, but it's a lot more than that. It's used extensively for conservation and behavioral research by ornithologists. And it's one of the few areas where like a hobby naturalist and the science naturalist really cross over. But one of the cool things about it is when I'm in a new place or even in my own backyard, you can pull it up and look at hotspots where other people have birded, and you can see what they've seen, and you can kind of identify, oh, this must be a really rich habitat. This looks like a marsh. Look at all these marsh birds they've seen. I've never been to this marsh near me. Like for you, Andrew, in Florida, whenever I go to Florida, I pull up eBird and I'm just trying to hit the best two or three spots so I can get some good Florida birds.
it's Yelp for the naturalist.
It is very much like that. And when there's a rich diversity of birds, there's almost certainly going to be a rich diversity of other organisms because it's all interconnected. The birds don't live without the plants, and the plants don't live without the fungi. And so everything connects, in case that's not obvious. So it, like by finding those birding hotspots, it gives me a possible window into a cool bit of habitat.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you're going to be heading out to Denver early.
Before that, I'm going to Ecuador.
Oh my gosh.
This will be my third trip to Latin America specifically for birding this year. So this is a little extreme. My partner just retired in January. So we took a trip to Brazil in February and to Panama in April, and we're going to Ecuador in September. So this will be a banner bird travel year. This is not characteristic for us in the past. I'm open to it being more typical for the future, but
plans for the European continent or the African continent?
Yeah. So yes, definitely Europe. We were in England not that long ago, about a year and a half, I guess. That was super fun. My sister's thinking of moving to France.
Really?
Certainly go and spend time with her there. They're headed there in a couple weeks, and they got their long stay visas, so they may well move there. But they live in Mexico now, so we'll see what happens.
That's awesome.
Anyway, it's I'd love to do a lot more travel, but I also run a business, Andrew. But although here's what I've been finding.
But aren't you going to become? Aren't you? I mean, don't you have the crew and they're going to run it, and you get to have just these fun?
I do, and so my feeling is it's good for them when I go away, and they solve the problems without me just fine. They do a fantastic job.
Yes, they do. I have to say, yes,
I really don't have to worry, and I think it's time for me to start, absenting myself episodically from the office so that I'm not there hovering like some helicopter mom trying to fix every problem. Mm-hmm. It's really important. I have a crew of incredibly bright and competent people. They really don't need me there all the time.
Yeah, I have to say they're fantastic to work with.
Good.
I like them all.
Yeah,
every one of them.
Great folks.
So Fran, I tell you what, we are at our 30-minute mark. We try to keep these things nice and tight because we're human. This isn't other podcasts that want to go on for hours and hours. Maybe if we start a true crime one, if you want to start a true crime,
you'll have to leave me out. Yeah. I'm too sensitive for true crime.
Okay. Or maybe we'll do like a deep history one or something like that.
There you go.
I like old presidential history. So if you ever want to do one on James K. Polk or something.
My partner's a historian, so maybe you could interest him. I don't know.
It. But Fran, for everybody out there, last word of what you think people should be thinking about when they want to, what should they be thinking about when they want to really get out there, maybe become a naturalist or just improve themselves overall? What should they be thinking about?
I just don't think you can beat like deep curiosity as a way of life. I think curiosity keeps you humble and engaged. I can't think of a better. It's right up there with gratitude in terms of what's helpful to cultivate, but gratitude can get a little weird if you over cultivate it.
I gotcha.
That's my opinion. It tends to dismiss trauma.
Right.
But curiosity is like the bomb. I mean, with curiosity, you can go anywhere. You can be like an incredible explorer in your own life, and you can make really interesting pivots that surprise you and suit you. So that's, I guess, what I would say.
Wonderful.
Be curious.
Let's do it. Let's be curious. Thanks, Fran.
Thanks. Nice talking to you, Andrew.
Always.
Okay. Before you go, Fran, would you mind sharing some contact information if people want to get a hold of you?
Sure. Fran Toler. My email address is Fran, FRANT, at Toler, TOLER, FG, like financialgroup.com. So frant at tolerfg.com. That's probably the best way to contact me. You can call my office, but you'll talk to my staff. It's very easy to find me online. If you just look up Toler, TOLER, financial, it's easy to pop up, and you can read about our business. You can contact me through there, whatever you want.
Andrew, your contact information.
Just as before, 321-209-0157. Evans at rossbyfinancial.com. Anybody can hit me up whenever you want.
Thank you, Andrew. And most importantly, thank you for listening to the Outstanding Shift podcast. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, please click the subscribe button below. This way, when the team comes out with a new podcast, it will show up directly on your listening device. And we humbly ask you to share this podcast, rate it, and leave a review because this actually helps others find the show. Again, thank you for listening. And for Andrew and Fran, I'm RJ Malik, and we look forward to you joining us for our next podcast.
Thank you for listening to The Outstanding Shift. Don't forget to hit the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our websites at www.ouroffice.team, www.rossbyfinancial.com, or give us a call at 321-209-0111. The information provided in this video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You should consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.